Channing Frye killed it last time he was on with us. Turner Sports NBA analyst. Won a championship with the Cavs. Turner Sports NBA playoff coverage continues tomorrow night. Game 6, Hawks-Bucks at 8:30 Eastern. And you can catch Channing on hashtag NBA Twitter Live during the second half of that game. Channing, thanks for joining us. What do you make of this matchup in the Eastern Conference right now?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think, I don't know if we've had an opportunity to watch these guys play, right? I mean, at the end of the day, injuries are something that happen, right, in all sports. And to see this Hawks team go from, they're pretty good to, holy crap, they're 2 games away from the NBA Finals, and I'm in Atlanta. At no point in my life did I ever think that we would say the Atlanta Hawks are 2 games away from the NBA Finals. And then for the Bucks, like last night, like I talk about how dominant Brook Lopez was in 2013 and 14, and people actually saw it. Like, he wasn't doing anything above himself. Like, obviously he went crazy, but Brook Lopez is a monster, and Bobby Portis is good too. So, we kind of get on the Bucks for being boring, but they got some hoopers. Like Drew Holiday, I love. I think he's one of my top 5 favorite players I've ever played against in the league, just respect-wise, just what he does. And obviously the Clippers and Suns series, you're just watching guys get an opportunity to be in the limelight. You're seeing a lot of these young guys step up, which is awesome. It's that new generation.
I just wonder about Giannis. No structural damage, but to come back from this injury.
There's no way he could do that. I've done it. And then we were talking with Shaq last night. It took us 6 weeks, and I had to wear a brace just to be comfortable. When you stand up, like when you bend your knee's not supposed to bend like that, and then your muscles get stretched out. So even when you're standing up, I don't know if you watch him, like, I watch little things. When you stand up, like your knee may buckle like that, and it's just like, it's the worst feeling. It like cringes your stomach. And anybody that's happened to, unless there's some new type of technology that I don't know of, I don't think we see him this series. And then if they do win, which I think they are, I don't know if we see him for, 3 or 4 games into the NBA Finals.
What about Trae Young's availability for this next game?
I mean, listen, you got to look at Trae and be like, hey, Trae, we need 2 games out of you, and this is it, right? I mean, bone bruises are crazy. I know guys that try to play through them, and you get maybe 50%. So can you win with a 50% Trae? Right. And that's really what because at the end of the day, and I said this yesterday, the first 3 plays of the game told me that the Bucks are not playing around anymore, that they go, we are 2 games away from the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Right. If you were a kid, or if you at the beginning of your career said that, hey, you could have an opportunity to be 2 games away from the NBA Finals and have a chance, even without Giannis, you're going to play a little different. And they started to play a little different last night. Like, they went to the rack at will. Drew Holiday was posting up all their guards. So if you're hobbled, they're now starting to attack everybody. Herter, Bogdanovich, anybody who comes in that game, they're using their bodies. And Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, I think, really set the tone last night.
Yeah, I just wonder, and I know it's easy for me being the get off my lawn guy, and back in my day, these guys would play hurt. I mean, these are big investments. I mean, the Bucks, this is a guaranteed contract the Greek Freak has.
Right.
$250 million here. But you don't know if you'll ever be in this position again. And that's where I wonder, how much can we expect? I want to be fair to him. I want to be fair to Kawhi. These guys who have injuries, having had, 6 knee surgeries myself. I understand it. But at some point, is it wrong for us to ask for you to do a little more, given what's at stake here?
I think, I'm just going to talk about Giannis. I don't know Kawhi's situation, but I know this. These dudes are some of the most elite players that sacrifice everything. Giannis has done every single thing right. Like, Giannis is a good dude. He plays the game the right way. He doesn't take days off. His teammates love him. He plays with ferocity every single night. I always look at it as, if that was my son, would I let him play? The way his knees buckled, right? The way he has, I don't know the doctor thing. I understand the the big picture of, yes, you're going to the finals, but I also understand the picture of Giannis has an opportunity to be one of the all-time greats. He has that. That is more important than the now, because I don't want you to go out there and you're 20% or 5%, and all of a sudden something more happens, and then you regret that moment, right? Giannis, you're special. Like, this is not a finger. This is not, an elbow on the other side, right? This is not a wrist. This is his knee, and he can't be Giannis with a knee that is wobbly like a hot Twizzler. You just can't do it.
Are the Suns going to be the favorite no matter who goes in out of the East?
I love the Suns, man. I know I'm from Phoenix, so I'm a homer, but they play good basketball. Like, that's what, like, my son just got into basketball last week. He played lacrosse, he played hockey, he played all the suburban sports, and finally they were like, yo, you got to start playing basketball. And I tell him to watch the Suns. Number one, Monty Williams coached me. I think Chris Paul is still underrated. And Devin Booker.
Now, why do you say Chris Paul is underrated?
Well, because everyone now is talking about how good he is just because he went to the finals. It's like, dude, he's been this good for 16 years. Like, and I'm lucky enough to have conversations with Charles and Isaiah Thomas, and we were talking about guys who never had a chance to win, but who were bad, like who were absolutely ridiculously good in their time. And Chris Paul has been ridiculously good in his time, and he's a true point guard, right? Those things are like, like antiques nowadays. Everyone turned into a combo guard because they couldn't get Chris Paul. They couldn't get that guy. And so between him and Devin Booker, they kill you on mid-ranges. That's against all the analytics, right? And so hold on, wait, what? Are we not talking about analytics now? Because Devin Booker dominated, like, absolutely, he like flicked it off like a little booger on a table. He's like, get that mess out of here, right? So I tell my son to watch him. Like, all he does is, hey, if you're going to follow me, I'm going to shoot the floater. If you're going to give me the right pull-up, I'm going to take this. Just take what you can get. And at the end of the day, if you could shoot all of it, you're going to average 30. It's easy. It's simple. The game is simple. And they just play good basketball. And I think the Hawks play good basketball. Obviously, I like Nate McMillan, what he's been doing with that team. Guys are coming in and stepping in. Last night they just got big boyed. But it'll be an interesting game next game.
Yeah, and we're talking to Channing Frye, the Turner Sports NBA analyst. He won a championship with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I carried him until the finals. Yeah, and then I told him, this is you.
Like this, I got you this point. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, like, I got you here. Let me take the rest now, right? There's no big guys out there for me.
And you know what? I've never seen that story written, so I appreciate you telling me that.
It's exclusive right here. You're like the Woj of...
Very humble. That's what... How often would you get yelled at by LeBron James when you played with him?
Oh, man. Not as often as you think. He's more of a look guy.
Well, Jordan would give his teammates. Jordan gave his teammates the look. You didn't want the
LeBron got looks.
Okay, what would make him give you the look?
Lack of confidence. So, like, if he passes you the ball and you don't shoot it because you missed two, he'll look at you like you're crazy. And then he goes, you don't think I know what I'm doing? Shoot the ball. And I'd be like, dang, yeah, you are LeBron, so I probably should shoot it next time. It's all encouraging. It's all good. He's one of the best teammates I've had.
What would he do with Ben Simmons, Channing?
Okay, well, I'm just going to speak for him. I'd tell him to switch hands. Like Tristan Thompson switch hands.
I've been saying it since his freshman year at LSU. I thought that he was a right-hander and he was shooting left-handed. I feel
like
that.
LeBron is left-handed and shoots right-handed and does things right-handed. LeBron writes and eats left-handed. So for me, let's start over, Ben. Okay, already it can't get any lower because you don't take shots. So let's work with the other hand because then it's new, it's fresh. You don't have the, we used to say you don't have the yips, right? On his left hand, his elbow's out, his wrist goes to the side. He's trying to like aim it. He doesn't have feel. So learn how to have feel with your hand. Like you got to feel the ball as a shooter. You got to have like a nice smooth motion. Now, if you start from scratch, almost like Chuck's swing, have you ever seen Chuck swing left-handed? It looks perfect. And then you see him swing right-handed, and it was better now, but like then it kind of got a little chop because his mind is used to doing it the wrong way more than it's used to doing right. Ben Simmons is one of the most talented guys in the NBA. And the criticism he's getting is only because of that. right? And only because it looked like he was afraid to not look cool, right? He was afraid to be embarrassed at his shot or at his thing. To me, I just tell Ben Simmons, give me 3 spots this summer. Give me 3 spots on the court where if you go there, you'll be willing to go 0 for 10, 0 for 20. But for us, we know you're working on just 3 spots. And then free throws, just give me 50%, 34%. You could kick that thing in there for the 34%. Come on, man. But shoot granny style. You don't got to be cool. You got to just help us win. Shoot granny style.
Is trash talk a lost art in the NBA today?
Yeah, we were talking about that too last night. Everyone gets so personal about it. Because sometimes dudes don't know how to do it correctly. Like there's so much information on people. Like, I don't know if trash talking used to be hearsay, where now people can Wikipedia and talk about your uncle who, end up going to jail for something. It's just too personal. But trash talk is great. I think it's good. I think.
But what would you say? Did you trash talk?
Only certain times for certain guys, if I needed to. I'm a nice guy. Like, I smile a lot. I like life is good. A long time ago, a doctor told me I was going to die. And then I played another 6 years in the NBA. So I have like glass half full all the time attitude. And so I needed to be mean sometimes. And when I knew the guy across from me was really nice, I needed to talk reckless to him. And I mean, I'd literally just cuss him out. Like he got my order wrong at McDonald's, right? Like just anything, any little thing. I would make things up. I think they say Bobby Portis imagines that people slap his mom. Now that's a little serious for me, but Bobby Portis is crazy. But to me, I would just be like, this dude wants to steal food off my table for me and my kids. And then I would just kind of get mad that way.
Would you have an appendix? Is that?
No. So they thought I had an enlarged heart. So they thought I had cardiomyopathy, which is way more serious than appendix.
Yes, it is.
The appendix is hurt. Yeah. I had a swollen appendix for 6 weeks and was flying. And when the doctor found out, he was like, I don't know how you didn't die or how you didn't get appendicitis. And I was like, well, I didn't. So let's get that nasty little thing out of here.
Well, you had, Chris Bosh, who had to go through that where they just said, no, we're going to shut you down. I mean, there have been, you have Hank Gathers, you have Reggie Lewis. I mean, we've had these players. Pete Maravich at age 40, they found out, he had heart issues.
Marcus Aldridge.
Yeah, he has to shut it down as well.
Jeff Green had to get surgery up his chest. He'd open his chest up.
Scary.
It's a gnarly scar.
Yeah. Who do you think? Do you think there's any chance LeBron gets Dame Lillard to L.A.?
Did you see what I wrote? I live in Portland, so I said, Dave, don't fall for the trap. If people don't know my humor, so like they're like, Jennings, stop hating. I'm like, man, I'm just joking, right? First of all, there's always a chance for everything. And here's why. I think the communication between your owner, GM, coach, and star player should be fluid, right? And I think you're seeing that. You're seeing that in Phoenix, that works, right? James Jones, Monty Williams, Chris Paul, Devin Booker are on one page, right? They bring in the right guys. They have the right attitude towards the game. There's just enough pressure to develop the young guys, but to always expect to win every game. In Portland, I don't know if that communication is exactly there now, but we have to wait. I think Chauncey Billups was an amazing player who doesn't get talked about enough. He was like, if you were up or down 3 or 4, Chauncey Billups was going to win that game. Like, they don't call him, like Chauncey Billups was hitting big shot after big shot. So I think his communication with players is going to be great. I think he's going to hopefully unlock some of the guys who have been kind of settling in.
They just have injuries, though, Chauncey. I mean, or Channing.
Yeah, Channing.
I mean, I don't know. If I'm Lillard, I'm 30, and I'm looking at all the other great players, and he is a great player, but he doesn't play. Hadn't had the opportunity to play in meaningful games, and I just don't see it happening.
So where would you have him go?
I would not let him stay in the West if I'm the Blazers. I would look at Philadelphia if I thought I was getting equal value for him. And that's not just, we get Ben Simmons. I got to get something else here.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got to get a lot because Damian Lillard is the heartbeat of Portland.
I know.
You got to get a quote unquote generational talent that is going to stay there, right? I mean, for instance, you got to be like, here, I'll give you Damian Lillard for Ja Morant. Like, to me, that's equal. To me, that's equal. I know that's crazy to say, but Ja Morant will stay in a small market and develop as you go through the rebuilding process, right? If you were to get rid of Damian Lillard. So who's a young guy that is going to stay in a small market? Because you don't want to trade Damian Lillard for Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is like, okay, I'm here for 2 years. Now I want to go to New York, or now I want to go to Brooklyn. You need somebody who's going to like dig their roots into that. That's how rare he is.
But Ben
right?
needs to be in a smaller market. He needs to have a team that's his. Like, I think part of the problem, he's in Philly. They expect to win. Doc Rivers comes in. Embiid, MVP candidate. Ben needs to be in a place where he can play, and he can play in games that might not be meaningful, and it can help him get some confidence back.
Right. So basically, if Orlando had a package, you would send him to Orlando. They're completely rebuilding.
Yeah.
They got some young guys.
Yes.
Yeah. And here, Ben,
we're
going to develop you.
And then you could have Ben and Markelle Fultz play on the same team together.
Yeah. Well, I just named Orlando. It's not like I was even thinking about their roster. I don't know if I put those two together, but I think again, I agree with you. Ben Simmons is a guy that needs, like Giannis needs a Chris Middleton. Ben Simmons needs to be the best player or the most dominant player.
Well,
but
he
not
plays
the best
different when he didn't have Joel Embiid in the lineup.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Doc Rivers conversation went, thank you, Ben. I love your service, but we're rolling with this dude on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that feels because they've always been, oh, you guys are 1A, 1B. Now it's like, no, Joel's 1, 2, and 3, and you're 4 in defense.
But did you ever go to the line and like you lose you were a really good shooter, but you go to the line and sometimes when you're not moving, like playing golf, that ball doesn't move and it freaks people out. Whereas baseball, you're throwing it, I got to swing. Like, we love the reaction as an athlete. Yeah. But when you get to the line, everything stops. And it's just you dribbling, looking at the basket.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a moment where you go, I lost confidence, or what the hell did I just do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Me being a shooter or a specialist, right? Like I'm out there for one reason, right? I'm out there to space the floor. And my biggest joke was like, hey, when I'm out here, I may not have any points, but nobody's getting double teamed, right? You can play one-on-one as long as I'm out here, because if I get a chance to shoot, I'm going to shoot it, I'm going to make it. So that was my running joke. And that's kind of the attitude I have towards the game. And so for me, you have to always go back to the work. You always got to imagine when you were, when I was a kid, it was 115. I'm out there shooting with my dad on that hot half tennis court, half basketball hoop in my neighborhood, right? And I remember those days where it was like, it was everything and nothing else was more important, right? And then you realize you come back to that moment where it's like, dude, it's a free throw. I've done this 1 trillion times. Like, I'm not in this arena. It's just me, the hoop, and the work that I put in. And you just go shoot it.
Yeah, but you can practice bad habits. When I go to the driving range, I can hit 100 balls. But if I'm not doing it correctly, then I'm not getting any better. And I think that's
the player's fault.
Yeah.
That's the player's fault. You cannot be a max player or somebody who is an upper echelon all-star, and you don't have. There are amazing elite people to teach you how to shoot, how to break down film, how to dribble, how to do all the major skills to be successful. So that's nobody else's fault but your own that you don't do it. And again, I go back to LeBron. This man hurts his ankle. He has 20 around-the-clock care. If he's hurt longer than 2 weeks, he has somebody change his diet, right? Because he has a chef. He doesn't drive because he's icing his knees. He's doing this. He's watching film. So there's no excuse, because what he has, you can do, right? These guys are getting 100, 200, 300, 400 million, and you're worried and you can't shoot a free throw? Stop it. Find somebody who's the best shooting coach in the world, hire him for a summer, have him stay at your chateau on the side, because you got a firehouse, and teach you every single day. Create a relationship with that person. So he's not just there for checks. So he's there for you. And so he can communicate with you how to be the best you.
Why don't you
Not
do
everyone
it?
has talent, huh?
Why don't you do it?
No, I don't know. I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience. Shooting is very simple to me, obviously, because that's what I do. And so people get too much. Like, you got to humble yourself before the game, right? You know what? I felt like I was one of the best shooters, and every day I would do the most simple, remedial things, the basics that would help me build out how I became a shooter. That's the only way to do it. And you got to humble yourself. It's boring. It's tedious. And you got to sit there and do it, and you got to do it perfect, and then you go to step 2. And a lot of guys want to skip it because they're talented, but you can't do that.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
This is great, man.
Yeah,
of course.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you, man. That's Channing Frye. That's Turner Sports NBA analyst, and he's part of Turner Sports NBA playoff coverage. Continues tomorrow night. Game 6, Hawks-Bucks. Take a break. Phone calls next.